Hello, hello everyone. Can you hear me? Welcome to the post-show live stream for week number 2 with Clare. How's everyone doing tonight? Welcome to a post-show chat for, wow, quite an episode. Quite an episode. So before we start, a few things. The chat rules are here in front of you. Sleuthing spoilers only, which for Clare's season is pretty much like I don't know if there's any spoilers at all at this point. All questions are welcome. I'm going to do my best to answer all of them. This live stream, if you're watching this after the fact, if you're watching this later, then right after the East Coast airing of the episode, don't worry. This is just going to be a question and answer period where we talk with chat about the episode we just watched, and the recap video preview breakdowns are going to be out soon. So if you're watching this wondering what the heck is going on, that's what's up. Last but not least, be kind to each other. And I saw Gigi. Thank you for the membership. Thank you for welcome to the community. I'm also thinking of here. Let me switch this to the good old slideshow. I'm thinking of ways to add more things to do for members as well. Right now, it's pretty much like a thank you tip for the for me and just showing your appreciation for the stream and the channel. Things like I don't know, like a movie night or something. Where we can watch all together a movie, or like play games like Jackbox. Among Us is the super popular game of the moment. So we'll figure something out like that. Let me know your thoughts. So, wow, what a night. A lot of stuff happening this episode, and also not a lot of stuff happening this episode. We're kind of in the exact same place where we were before. People being sent home after like literally 5 sentences. Brandon, I don't know if there's ever been a bigger screw up in Bachelor or Bachelorette history. It was something else. We thought on night 1 with Tyler C, I thought that was one of the worst screw ups ever. And he got sent home for it. So, Chris, what do you think is going to happen to Blake? That's a good question. Because tonight I really solidified my viewpoint of Blake for the weeks to come. And it's Blake will play a part in Clare's season and not Tayshia's. So, hi, Diana. I see what you said there. It's a meme. Don't worry. Calm down. It's in good taste. Yeah. So we saw Tyler C go home real quick. Brandon go home even quicker, and it looks like still Dale's gonna be the pick. That's it. But Blake, back to Blake. Blake, he's got his connection with Clare. I was wondering if he was going to be someone who, maybe because of the screen time he was getting might do well with Tayshia, but I don't think that anymore. And John, welcome. Thank you for the super chat. Most cringe moments for me, the stripping and Dale and Clare going at it blindfolded with all the guys watching blank faced. Yeah, so definitely the stripping part was an interesting choice. It's one of those things where I guess, I don't know, we'd probably be calling it out if it were a season of The Bachelor, if it were women doing that. And my sort of take is that, why have it on either season if not, at all? But definitely Dale's performance on the first group date, very underwhelming. But I think Clare has her idea of of Dale already. So he pretty much, as long as he doesn't, pull a Brandon, he's going to be in a fine shape. So yeah. Yeah, the stripping, what did what purpose did it serve, really, at all, I don't know. I just think, like, I probably wouldn't feel comfortable doing that on the show. So that's me. And look, there are people who are totally comfortable with, showing off their bodies, and that's their thing, and that's totally cool. It's more about, I guess, feeling pressured to do it. Like, if someone wanted to just do it, if one of the guys said, if I lose this group date, I'm going to strip afterwards, and then they do it, it would be different. But the pressure to do it, I guess, is what I think is not cool. Yeah, and this is par for the course with Bachelor stuff, right? Like, we see swimsuit photo shoots all the time with female contestants. It's kind of one of the things that we need to start holding, the show accountable for a little more, So do you think Yosef was on point, has a point this season, or no? I think he's being really extra. Like, you can understand some of his base points, maybe. Like, he doesn't agree with the things Claire's done, but it looks like he's completely, about to go off the handles. So, I think he's being extra. Like, it's one thing to go, okay, I don't like what she's doing. I'm not connecting with this. I'm not a fan of it. And then saying, you know what, like, respectfully, I'm out of here. But it looks like he does a complete blow-up meltdown and fight. But, I guess whatever you need to do to get on Paradise, right? Thoughts on what Blake did? Oh, man, what Blake did, he pulled the interference on the date that he wasn't invited to. Totally not cool. And I'm not Nicole. Welcome. Thank you for becoming a member. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Yeah, no, like, it's kind of weird with Blake. Clare really, really enjoys the kind of interference play. So thinking about it now, I can almost understand why he made that play. Why he decided he was going to go jump in on that date. Because obviously he was rewarded by Clare. Right? He was rewarded by Clare when he DM'd her in the off-season. And then he goes and he kind of put her in an awkward situation because then she had to reject him and she couldn't kiss him, even though apparently she wanted to. So you can understand why he makes the play, why he makes that move. But it was still kind of cringy. And it's rarely a good move, but it paid off, I guess. He got a rose. This is weird, this whole time with Clare. And you know what? It's not going to matter. None of it's going to matter. Because she's going to end up with Dale. So, yeah, Riley, sweet and thoughtful. Yeah, I think he seems like a good guy. He's getting a good edit. In my preview breakdown, I mentioned 4 guys: Ben, Zach, Riley, and Blake. I'm taking Blake off that list. No longer someone I think is going to be there for Tayshia, like, potentially. But Riley still is on that list. Riley still is someone who could be good with Tayshia. I mean, just based off of edit. That's the only evidence I have for that. So, is next week Claire's last week? That maybe. My guess is next week, because we got to get to Tayshia at some point. And I'm kind of in the space of, Like, come on, let's get to Tayshia now after this episode. I don't know. Maybe it's a mix of Dale being so the pick and that like scene at the end just confirming it even more. And some of the like warp speed drama that's been injected into these first two episodes. But I'm kind of ready for that fresh start. My guess is, so next week we've got the Yosef drama. And at best, we've got the Dale stuff at the end of the episode, which means a fourth episode will be for the whole fallout. So I'm thinking there's no way we have any less than 2 more episodes of Clare. And then probably the 5th episode is when they introduce Tayshia. And that'll be the like shocker preview for the end of that episode. Unless they really stretch the Clare and Dale aftermath to another episode into episode 5. What do you think of Clare complaining about the men not immediately grabbing her to talk? So, I think, while it was a bit extra, I think she has somewhat of a fair point to say, like, you know, there's this awkward silence and nobody steps. I mean, you have certain expectations. Maybe Claire's, you know, she knows all about the Bachelorette. She's been on these seasons many times. That if these guys are really, you know, fighting for her, they're going to make the effort, and she didn't feel that effort. So for a part of that, I can understand. But yeah, I think too much drama came out of that at the end. Yeah, Brandon being sent home was super cringe. No idea what I mean, I think I saw someone else tweet, it was like Bachelor Bob or something like that, that this is a guy who has never had to, you know, use language to pick up a woman. He's always gotten by on his looks. So, what did he do? Is that Brandon? He basically, she asked him. He said like, "Oh, I like when I knew it was you, I had to come on the show." And then she said, "What about me?" And what about me brought you to the show? And he said like, "You're pretty. Can we move on?" he had no reason. He was just I don't know, cringing hard. There's a lot of cringing in this episode. It was a heavy cringe episode. What do you think one of the guys said about one of the guys who said you're the oldest Bachelorette here? That's Yosef, and he's causing some drama. And poor Bennett is still waiting there for his time. What a turnaround! Everyone's saying poor Bennett after the first episode where everyone was making fun of him. But yeah, no, Yosef calling her out, like going that extra mile to, I don't know what, like get his TV time or something. Not necessary. Dude, if you don't like her, sit her down and say, I don't agree with the things you're doing. I don't think we're a match. Goodbye. But obviously, like, you know, you got to get your TV time. You got to get out there, you know, working for that paradise. So, also, again, I want to note, like, I feel like some pretty good Ben edits this episode. Some subtle, good Ben edits. Like, with the words of love thing, the Romeo and Juliet stuff. I feel like we got that little bit of Ben in there. And, you know, then he got out. We're only getting good stuff of Ben. So, that's my feeling on Ben. I think he's a Tayshia guy. He's getting that, like, Goldilocks edit. It really, like, I don't know about some of the other ones, but that's who I'm feeling. Do you think men are being edited well? Well, speaking of, Jordan asks, do you think any men are being edited well for a good setup going into Tayshia? That's Ben. And in the preview breakdown, also Zach. I didn't observe. You know, I'll look at the episode again and the preview. Um, Zach looks like potentially because when you think back to the last preview and the shot of the woman in the wedding dress and the guy who really looks like Zach, and right now like a picture is popping up of all the men, all their haircuts, and I can't really think of any guy there who looks like the man in that photo, the wedding photo. And I think like when is that going to happen? Is that like a one-on-one that's going to happen next episode? Like unless that one-on-one happens, that's Tayshia in that shot and that's Zach, which again doesn't necessarily mean that Zach's a guy who's gonna like win the show, because Tayshia's obviously gonna have like a first one-on-one and stuff, and multiple one-on-ones. So it could just be him on a one-on-one or on a group date even. It could be a photo shoot group date, a fairy tale wedding photo shoot group date, and that's just the shot that they chose. But so that's why I'm not as, even though that's like, you know, some pretty interesting stuff, that shot there. To me, what's more telling is the edit. And that's why I kind of, like my hunch is Ben, with especially with the whole, them cutting out so much of his Clare time. And then there's that shot as well of Ben from the last preview, where he's like saying, I've never felt this way before about someone, and it cuts to Clare. I'm still waiting to see that part happen in the next couple of episodes, because there are not many more opportunities for that. Oh yeah, and Easy's totally a Bachelor in Paradise guy. And yeah, bring in JPJ and Juan Pablo also, his spirit finally at peace tonight. Claire's dress that she wore for the final rose ceremony has been burned. We can move on from this chapter in our lives. Finally. So yeah, it's really, I think, and maybe that's the whole Yosef thing, is these guys are seeing Dale take complete charge of the season, and they're just clawing for that paradise spot. How did you feel about the therapy session? Yes, the one-on-one, aka the therapy session. And I don't know if Claire's expecting like a paycheck from Jason after that for the hour of therapy he got. I mean, like, hey, I'm all for some therapy. Everyone needs a little therapy in their life. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think, and you know, Clare is that's like so Clare. She wants the open guy. She doesn't want the walls. She said it many times. It makes so much sense for Clare to do that on a one-on-one. So I'm not surprised by it whatsoever. So it's a little forced. Yeah, I mean, it is like everything's a little bit forced on this show. So I think there's pressure to open up and get out of the gate hot. So I can understand why so much spilled out. And Megan, welcome. Thank you for becoming a member. I'll be leaving messages on YouTube for members in the days and weeks to come. We're gonna organize something for members to all do together with me. At least once or twice a month, maybe more. We'll figure it out. I want to see what people are interested in. I don't want to talk about Cam ever again. I know, like, yeah, Blake pulling a Cam with that interrupting of the date. Thoughts on the strip dodgeball? I wasn't a fan of it. I just think I would feel uncomfortable if I was on that date. If I was on the losing team It wouldn't be like, oh, this is fun, like, because I would feel pressured into doing it. That's why I would feel pressured. And maybe welcome as well. Thank you for becoming a member. Like, again and again, like I said before, if you want to, take that bet and do that, and it's your choice to do that, like, go for it. I can't stop you. You're not, like, harming anybody, except for maybe Chris Harrison's eyes. But, like, that's all I need. That's, like, cool, great. But there's the pressure to, like, you have to do it. So, and it's the same, and like, we'd be, and if this was a season of The Bachelor, we would be having a much, like, a different conversation of why did this Bachelor make the women strip after playing dodgeball, If someone wanted to do that, go for it. So, do you think Clare and Dale met up before filming? So, it's certainly suspicious. It's, like, how fast, how crazy this has gone. And there's a lot of speculation from people. Clare and people close to Clare have said that no, they did not. They did not talk. They didn't meet. They didn't do anything before the show, at all. And Clare has been honest about. She was honest before about Blake, and she has been honest about saying that she's looked at the men. She's seen the pictures and she's scoped them out. So, apart from speculation, let's just say for a moment that Clare didn't, like, talk to Dale at all. I think there's enough plausible reasoning here to think that Clare could have, way back when, because Dale was in the original cast list of men from, like, what, March? Seen Dale, and over the quarantine developed an image of Dale in her mind. And by the time she actually ended up on the show, she already had a full-fledged, impression of this guy. And all he had to do when he walked out of the limo was say, hey, and, not mess it up, not be, like, awkward or weird. And, Claire said she's someone who wants those walls to be down, open, someone who's not a player, someone who's gentle. And, when Dale came and was those things, it was like, that's it, it's over. Boom. She's already had her idea of this guy, and then, okay, he didn't mess it up, let's go. So, I think it is reasonable to believe, there's a world where Clare didn't talk with Dale. That being said, it is really suspect. So, it's possible, definitely possible. Do you ship Clare and Dale? I'll be honest, I probably wouldn't. If it wasn't for all this hype, like, if she didn't say, I think I just met my husband, and if she didn't have that, like, crazy, steamy moment at the end of the episode, I don't know if I would ship the two of them, to be honest. Like, if it was just based off of the group date that happened this episode, probably not. Probably not. Oh, hey, sorry. I pressed mute because there was a car going by. By the way, I have spent this whole week moving. I'm in a new home, which I know is crazy because of Corona. Yeah, no, I heard a car coming by. Oh, there's an and so I just muted it for a second, then I forgot to press unmute. Woo! Sorry, I was just going off on Dale. I was basically saying that in the previews they, while we've been saying, there's something suspect maybe about Dale and her talking, I also, on that same note, when the guys in the previews are saying that Dale is, not here for the right reasons or he's got something to hide, that's not true. I think he's he seems like a genuine guy. So I don't think he's got anything to hide. I think people are just trying to throw whatever they can on him. So, yes, and you're new here. I do not show my face, but I will at 100K subscribers. We are really close to that mark. We're getting really close. I need to start thinking of something to do for that. Got to get my act together. So, I heard theories that after Clare decided on Dale, they had her record sound bites talking about how much she liked him to put in when edited, and even reviewed her night one response to meeting him. Thoughts? Ooh, love a good conspiracy theory. I'm sure. So, I'm sure if on one thing that the edit for what happened on night one definitely changed once they as the season went on and as they got closer to the season. And the edit was so pro Dale because they knew that one, Dale was just gonna blow the season out of the water, but that also people knew about Dale, and that they have 4 episodes to get a story together where Tayshia takes over, or 5 episodes, or even potentially 3, but I think it's at least 2 more episodes. So I wouldn't be surprised if sound bites from different parts of the season made it into night one, because I think they do that anyways. Just a regular season, they will add sound bites from different parts of a season to get the kind of sentence that they want. And Rachel, thank you for the super chat. How are the doggies liking their new home? They are loving it. They've got a nice little yard. Well, it's a pretty good sized yard here. Actually, I'm pretty lucky that they have been running around in, and they're getting used to the place. It's a little confusing. So, but they're doing well. Thanks for asking. They're resting right now. And yes, thank you, Think Story. There is, if you don't know my dogs, I did at 50K a dog reveal video. It's on my channel. You can check out their story, see them. They're cute as can be. So, hopefully Tayshia won't have only 5 or 6 episodes. I agree. If it's episode 5, she'll at least have 7, I think. If it's a typical season, hopefully they'll add some more. And SHM Design, thank you for the super chat. Clare is so immature and has shown why she's been single at 39. Do you think she's the worst Bachelorette yet? Well, I can't say that because we're only 2 episodes in. And I think a season is best judged in full. With Juan Pablo and with Peter, you couldn't say, those are two widely regarded seasons as ones with bad bachelors. And you couldn't tell that on episode 2. You definitely, looking back at Juan Pablo season, which I did this summer, and specifically episode 1, and I did a video just on episode 1, you can't really tell. You can't really tell that it's going to be the way it's going to be. There's certainly some awkward stuff, and of course there's going to be awkward stuff because, again, the editors know kind of the direction of where the season's going. Thinking back at that season, the whole part with Charlene accepting the first impression rose is kind of weird. But I think any decision on worst Bachelorette ever is yet to come. Yet to come. And it's an interesting thing because, I honestly believe, this is such a Clare season. Right? Like Clare is acting how Clare would act. And in that regard, it's good because she's being herself. This is the kind of season that Clare would have. She is so, fast on some of her decisions, like with Benoit. Remember in Bachelor Winter Games? If you haven't watched or seen Bachelor Winter Games, it was this, I guess, spin-off season of The Bachelor with Bachelor contestants from all over the world, and other seasons of The Bachelor, like The Bachelor Germany and The Bachelor Australia and The Bachelor UK and The Bachelor Canada, The Bachelor US, come in and compete in these sort of winter games alongside of the Winter Olympics that was happening at the time. And Clare was on that, and she met Benoit, who is French-Canadian. He was from the Canadian version of The Bachelorette. And they got engaged, basically after no time. There's a whole story, he left, she was going after someone else, and then she left, and then they started talking off camera, and then got engaged after the final Winter Games. And Carolyn Needles, welcome. Thank you for becoming a member. Really appreciate it. So, when do you think the season finale will be? That's so usually there's 12 episodes or so of a season, 12, 13. And sometimes they do double episodes, the Monday, Tuesday, part 1 of the finale, part 2. So in that case, there's 10 more episodes. So 2.5 months. We're going to be in December. We're going to be having Bachelorette in December. And then it's going to end. And then The Bachelor starts. We're getting a Christmas break, basically, in between seasons of The Bachelorette and The Bachelor. We've had 7 months off from the show, and we are about to have 7 months straight of the show. And then it's going to go a few months and back into The Bachelorette. Because, I don't know what it's going to look like for the year ahead, with the pandemic. But they seem to have something figured out. They're not going to maybe do the typical season for the next Bachelorette if things aren't, getting back to normal. But they've got the bubble seemingly figured out. Did you miss Honey this episode? Yes. And I will miss Honey every episode until she's back. Honey is Claire's dog. So, Chris Harrison, is dating Lauren Zima from E.T. And she does Roses and Rosé on YouTube as well. Claire is way more decisive than Pilot Pete. She knows what she wants. At least she cuts through the BS. Pilot Pete was so wishy-washy. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. And in that regard, she's way... And I do appreciate that part. Is she cuts the BS pretty quick. I think that's I'd rather have that quality than not have that quality in a lead. So do you think Lauren Zima knows all the tea and just pretends she doesn't? Oh, she for sure knows more than she leads on. And don't tell me... So, Lauren Zima was one of the first people to, from a major news network to announce that Tayshia was going to be coming in as the Bachelorette partway through this season. And she even had on her Instagram, she had her, a picture of her arm wrapped around Tayshia and saying, congrats, blah, 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 blah. So, you're telling me that Chris Harrison didn't have word or knowledge of that post was going out? You telling me that? I don't buy it. And of course, I think, Chris Harrison and the production team is looking back at all the, Tayshia spoiler stuff, the Tayshia news, the Tayshia announcements, and loving it. Because it's extra hype for the season. It was hype in the middle of the summer when there wasn't going to be a season till October. There was hype for a season in between 7 months of nothing. So I think they are letting some of the stuff happen. But, Any news on Colton and Cassie? I believe there's some sort of other scheduled hearing for them in November, I believe is what I read last, unless something's changed recently. So, really feel for Cassie. Wonder when we'll be getting footage of Tayshia in the promos. Well, one thing is, we might have already. We might have gotten footage of Tayshia that's hidden in the promos. But legit, you mean legit shots of Tayshia. Probably once they drop the bomb that Claire's going to be leaving, that episode they'll have some sort of Tayshia footage or something like that. And what happened with Colton and Cassie? Cassie has a restraining order on Colton after he he sent some text to her and he put a tracking device on her car. Not fun. Really horrible stuff. So, and really feel for Cassie. Do you think Tayshia just gets the run off of Claire's men, or does she get to choose from the original 30? I think it's going to be pretty unusual. My guess is that, one, it depends on how they handle the men who've gone home. If they ask the men to stay, which, I mean, I don't know, it seems kind of weird. If those men stay, then I guess they could come back, right? They'd still be in the bubble. But if they leave and they go home, then they're not going to be in the bubble and therefore probably not coming back for Tayshia's season. There are men who have been in the cast list. There were 41 men or 42 or gosh, I can't remember. From the cast list that was in July. And only 31 men showing up for Claire's season. So maybe some of those men will come in for Tayshia. But I guess for the men that are remaining, they'll have a choice? I don't know. I guess they can choose to stay or go. But I would imagine most of them would stay. Why not? What do you have to lose? You're here anyways. you've gone through all this trouble to be there. Why not see if maybe something works out? Which is kind of like crappy for Tayshia, but I think this is an unusual situation, you know? So it's never going to be ideal for anyone involved. And Anna Wheeler, welcome. Thanks for joining. Thanks for becoming a member. Really appreciate it. When did you join Bachelor Nation? When did I first start watching? Well, I really started watching somewhere around like when I really started sleuthing around Ben Higgins season. Ben Flajnik season is when I started to really get invested. But I do remember when I was really little, my mom's watched the show for forever, since the beginning. And I do remember watching, coming in because she would often like work late and she'd get home around like 7 o'clock sometimes. And then she'd eat. And then the chance for like me to hang out with her would be like we'd watch like 8 o'clock TV shows. And 8 o'clock TV shows were stuff like Survivor, the like first season of Survivor, and network shows that were on, you know, Monday to Friday at 8 o'clock. And I do remember watching the original Bachelorette with her. So technically from the beginning. But Ben Flajnik season is what really got me going with the whole Courtney stuff on like figuring out how things happened. And then Ben Higgins is when I really started investing in like previews and trying to like, you know, talk to the people that I had little group chats going with about Bachelor stuff and making memes and things like that. So that's my Bachelor Nation story. So I heard a conspiracy. All right, let's hear it. Because Clare made it so obvious early on that they might have told the eliminated guys basically stay, trust us, because they had a feeling this could happen. Might have been you who said that. I don't know if I said that. I don't think I said that. The only kind of thought that I had was, what if the guys have to quarantine for 2 weeks before they leave the bubble, I guess? I don't know. Or you know, safety and all that. And then maybe it's like, hey, it's been like 5 days. Want to come back? So, who's your favorite Survivor player? So I've missed a chunk. Kind of like I've watched the last like 5 or 6 seasons. I missed like a few seasons somewhere like before that, so I've probably missed some people. But I was always a Boston Rob guy. How do you think they will introduce Tayshia's new guys? A too hot to handle kind of thing? Yeah, that is a good question. Like, so say there are these new men coming in, the men from the cast list who didn't make it onto the show, and they're being introduced. It's going to be kind of weird. Like, you've got all these guys that know each other, and then there's these new guys. I guess it'll all kind of work itself out. It's kind of like a new night one anyways, but I imagine there's going to be cliques. You know? The new guys are going to sit at a different lunch table than the old guys. It's all going to be a weird learning experience. Because it's just so unusual. They haven't done this stuff before. Yeah, I would blow up the Bachelorette, end the season early before taking over Chris Harrison's position. Yeah, I would not be good on the show because I would be, 1, not down with the bullshit. 2, I think I'd be so paranoid of like getting a bad edit, but At the end of the day, if you're going on the show, the best thing to do is just be yourself and not care what people think, because like I guess the idea is you're on there to find a partner, and if you're your genuine self and the person doesn't like you, then okay, great. I figured out you're not my partner. And if you're your genuine self and they do like you, then even better. Perfect. You might have just found your life partner. And you can form a dynamic duo of Bachelor Nation power and get millions of Instagram followers and millions of dollars. Perfect. Happy ending for all. So, did anyone else notice that Bennett is basically Christian Bale in American Psycho? I know. I need to see his business card. What is it made out of? What's the color? Bennett's getting it. Poor Bennett. Completely getting slammed by Bachelor Nation and by Clare. Poor Bennett. Take your Rolls Royce home. What was the blow up about the guys not stepping up about? So on the group date, Clare gave a toast. And, after for the night portion of the date, they all sat down. She gave a toast. And then after she finished her toast, there was just silence. And no one, asked to go, take her away, go sit down with her. And she was like, what the hell? So, and we thought an older Bachelorette would not have any drama. Oh, the drama will always find a way on this show. The drama always finds a way. AKA the producers. They make drama. They find a way. But I mean, that's part of the, casting process. Is they're not going to cast a Bachelor or Bachelorette that's not going to allow some drama to happen. At least not anymore. So, are you going to be watching and reviewing the Australian Bachelorette? I will be watching when I can Australian Bachelorette, Australian Bachelor in Paradise. I do enjoy it. I find that it's one of the series that's closest to the American version, but I only if it works well sometimes in the off season for stuff to do, but right now there's just too much to do. There's too much Bachelorette and Bachelor stuff to talk about. So, there's a Chasen and a Jason, and oh yeah, there's two Blake M's. Man, what a season! What a wild ride we're in for. So, yeah, age doesn't mean maturity. That's true. That's also true. I think we're getting a masterclass in this with this season. Not just with Clare, with the men, too. There's a lot of guys who are much older, not very mature. What do you think about these 11, 12, 13-year age gaps? Do you think they're really into Clare? I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's a big age gap. And yeah, this is a show where a lot of people don't go on it for the right reasons. But I think it's also, totally plausible that someone on that show with a 12-year age gap could fall in love with Clare. It's totally plausible. Is it likely? Probably not. I mean, it's and now an 8-year age gap seems perfect. How old is Dale? He's 31, Claire's 39. Perfect. Yeah. 8-year age gap seems to be the perfect spot. I think that's it. But also, I think part of that decision is they know that like they're going to plan for a paradise. I got to imagine that they're planning for a paradise despite what happens with the pandemic. You know, whether that's finding a beach somewhere in the States and throwing a bubble down there. There's no way, you know, that's not going to happen. Obviously, like this year, no one could have imagined something coming in the way right when they're about to, you know, film Bachelorette and then straight to paradise. So that's going to happen. And what I'm getting at is they need people that are younger in age to match the women who are from past seasons that are going to be on there, and the women on Matt's season too. That's what I'm imagining is their thought process. They're not going to have, you know, all older men. It's going to be, or like men in their 30s. It's going to be a mix because they need that group of guys. So how many seasons do you think they will pull from? It could be a lot. Like, I mean, they had a lot of contestants on last season of Bachelor in Paradise. I think it was like a record or something. And you know, they pulled Chris Bukowski from many seasons of The Bachelor and Bachelor Pad and Bachelor in Paradise. I think they're gonna. I wonder if they'll pull one guy or gal from Listen to Your Heart. I think they were probably planning on doing that. But that got nixed. We'll see. And we'll definitely see some women from Peter's season for sure. But it's going to be a weird mix because there's that gap. There's going to be less women from Peter's season than there would have been. And we're going to get women from Matt's season and men from here. Yeah, Rudy would be great. What was it, Sheridan? I feel like he was a very likable guy, but you know, maybe now they're thinking, "Ugh, that was so long ago." You know, never mind. We don't have enough space. Yeah, Blake's got to chill on all this rule breaking because he might scare her. She seems to be totally fine with it. She seems to like it. He got a rose tonight. So, all right. So we are going to come to the last 5 minutes of the stream because, hey, you know, got to get up nice and early. Start recapping. Start looking at the previews. Start planning the videos for the next 2 days. Got lots of stuff to do. Got to get my beauty sleep. You know, got to get a lot of beauty sleep if the face reveal is going to happen soon. So if you got any last minute questions, let's get them in now. So Ashley I was successful, was on for the exposure as well. Yeah, hey, yeah, you can go on this show both for love and for fame, I think. I think it's okay to go on the show with the idea of, hey, maybe I'll find love, but if not, it's pretty cool that I could gain like 100,000 Instagram followers and start shilling like, you know, advertising products. Like that's a pretty good backup to not finding love. And or finding love and also getting those things. I think that's okay. It's when you go on and you're completely like, don't give a crap about finding love, being in a relationship, anything at all. That's when there's trouble. With the face reveal, will you tell us a bit about yourself? Absolutely, I will. Absolutely. It won't just be like face reveal. I'll tell you a little bit about myself and make it, you know, a little more interesting than just like a shot of me or something like that. Just here you go. The face reveal will be a video. The face reveal will be a video that I'll release. Very soon after the 100K mark, just because I have to edit it and put it all together and everything. And there's a few other stuff I want to do, which gotta start planning now. No, some of it's planned now already. Yeah, make the face reveal a puzzle. You got to figure out. You got to follow clues. You got to sleuth out where in the world is Bachelor Fantake. Better be a limo. Yeah, I'll have my limo entrance, full suit of armor. Can you do a Q&A? Yeah, I'll absolutely do that. And maybe I'll figure out a way. I'll do an AMA or something and attach it to the face reveal too. So, where's Waldo? Yeah. So did you already talk about the Brandon thing? Thoughts? So awkward. Obviously, dude has not had to have many deep conversations with women before. I think he's a guy who has had a lot of success just based off of his looks. And yeah, I think it was the right decision to let him go. So awkward, so cringy. Will you have a fart ring? Amazing idea. I'll see if anyone can get me in contact with Zach J, Fart Guy Zach. Tell him I'm looking for a fart ring. I need one ASAP. Send it as fast as you can. So, all right. Thank you all for joining. This is going to be the last moment here. End of the live stream. What a weird episode where so much happened and yet so little. We still know exactly how this is going. It's going to be a great season. We've got recap video coming up tomorrow, followed by preview breakdown. You know there's going to be lots to talk about. So thank you all for joining me tonight. Really appreciate it. Have a great night, everybody. Stay safe. Bachelor Fantake out.